Welcome to Candid Conversations with Doc V on the WWW Network, where real talk about real experiences and circumstances is the norm and not the exception, to help you heal, rebuild, and transform your life from the inside out and put you back in business. Hi, I'm Doc V, the Pivot Maestro and your corner woman, here to provide you truth and transparency in conversation to help you navigate the waters and think without a box. What is my why? To create a safe haven for you, to validate you and your experiences as a woman, and to provide hope and freedom in your thinking and being, so that you may live the life and lifestyle you were meant to lead. Our topics of conversation run the gamut surrounding women's issues in the workplace, joy, and career transition, among other topics, always providing revelation, reconciliation, and renaissance, with one mission in mind: to help you define your path, and one message: that you are mission essential. So let's jump right in. Last week, our pivot was to pursue our dreams, our passions. And we asked ourselves, what is your dream? What are your passions? And perhaps some of you ask those questions for the very first time. And if so, that is okay. The important part is that you asked yourself. We also reconcile that change is a constant of life, and to embrace it without fear. Ladies, that is our only option. Change is going to continue to happen. And until we embrace fear and make it our ally, we will continue to spin our wheels in the same circles of insanity. So let's get into our topic for this week, our pivot for this week. The next step is to believe. Believe, ladies. And you may ask yourself how. I know I've asked myself that. Even though I had a spiritual foundation and have a spiritual foundation from a very young age, I still ask the question, how? How do you believe? How do you believe when everything seems to be coming against you and keeping you from making progress, or keeping you in a state of being or a state of mind that you know is not the true you, that is weighing heavy on your soul? How? Find your higher power, ladies. Find your higher power. Find the source of peace, that source that brings you peace from the inside out. That source that centers you and gives you strength, that makes you believe that you are more than a conqueror, that you are capable. That source. Because that source, once you find that source, understand and realize we must fuel our belief system. When we are feeling that weight, when we are feeling that heaviness, it's because our belief, our faith, that belief system that's tied to it, maybe it doesn't even exist, or it's on life support. And we have to go to the source to bring life, to breathe life back into it, right? I have a saying I like to say all the time: just breathe. Some of you may also say that to yourself, because when we stop, when we center ourselves, when we take the time to just breathe, we can start putting things into perspective. We can start thinking about our belief system, returning to our belief system, because in that belief system, that's where the confidence is. Confidence is key, ladies. It's key. And the belief is the secret sauce for the win. Let me say that again. The belief system, that's our source of confidence. It's key. And the secret sauce is belief for the win, for sustainable wins in life. So don't worry, I'm not taking you down a church path. I'm not taking you to church. This is not a religious talk, but it is a real talk about what fuels you, right? And what fuels you is different for each of us, right? Some of us may be same, similar, what have you, different. It's okay. It's about your source. It's about what fuels you, what focuses you, what centers you. But it's all tied to the spiritual realm, the spiritual world. Remember, we talked about that several episodes ago. Just the mind-body-soul connection and the difference between the spirit and the soul. We won't go into that today, but go back and watch that episode. Have you ever thought about, let's think about this. Where does your willpower come from? Have you ever thought about it? Where does your willpower come from? Let's talk about the concept of belief, okay, before we go too far. Because I want to make sure you all are tracking and understanding the terms that I'm using. So belief is the acceptance that a statement is true or that something exists, right? It's trust, it's faith, it's confidence in someone or something. With the belief system then being a set of principles or tenets which together form the basis of of spirituality or of a philosophy or of a moral code, right? The principles that form the basis for that spirituality, philosophy, or moral code, whatever you're comfortable calling it. So, why is all of this important? It's important because on this earth, we are finite flesh. Flesh is flesh. What makes us more than flesh, what brings us to life, what allows us to function day to day, the source of our thinking and being, the mover of our soul, the source that gets us up off the mat when we're down and almost out for the count, is belief. The faith that we will wake up in the morning, today will be a better day, that I can do all things. It's all belief. It's all faith in something or someone. Life is a gift, ladies. It's a gift, and the gifts of faith and choice are among the greatest gifts. So please, let's not take those for granted. Let's not write them off as something just, oh, that's a terminology used in certain religions or what have you. Faith is faith. That's not a religious concept. Religion co-opted a lot of terms that already existed, that were already a part of the spiritual realm. Faith is faith, and choice is choice. And choice is a part of free will, which we have. And sometimes we think we have or we're operating in faith, but we are not. Guilty of that. Sometimes we think we have belief, and we do not or are not consciously and purposefully plugged into that belief or that belief system. Again, guilty. So, we do not even realize it oftentimes until we quiet the noise around us and, we get into a receiving posture. A receiving posture. And that's what plugging into the source will do for us. It puts us in that receiving posture. Whether that's through prayer, whether it's meditation, or conversation with someone we love and trust unconditionally, and who loves and gives to us love unconditionally. Sometimes those closest to us, they can really be our stumbling block and divert us from our path. They can actually be our greatest stumbling block, or they can be our greatest inspiration and motivation, helping to break the chains that bind us, that keep us from reaching our full potential, from reaching our full healing. So, I want to share a little bit about a personal story, my story, and just accepting freedom. I recently had a revelation in which, you know, prior to, I was convinced that I had already forgiven myself for past decisions or choices that led me down certain paths, and that I was walking and operating in freedom. But I recently had this revelation that um, that was not totally true. And here I am. I've written a book, Love the Skin You're In, How to Conquer Life Through Divergent Thinking. And when I was writing that book, I thought I was writing it for others, and I was, but it was really for me. It was really one of the pivotal steps in my healing process and dealing with those pain points. And so whereas I thought, okay, I've put up my autobiographical love letter to society out there, and I had dealt with and worked on myself and my pain points. I discovered, guys, ladies, can you imagine my surprise when I was in a conversation with my companion, and it just all surfaced, and I realized I discovered pain points that I had not addressed, because they were buried so deep. How many of you bury the pain so deep that you, like I, honestly forgot? Forgot the particulars, forgot the whole circumstance, the whole situation, buried it so deep. And as we were having this conversation, I realized that there were still some things holding me back, some fears that I had not faced that were keeping me from reaching my full potential, my full capacity for the greatness, the highness that I have been called to help people heal, rebuild, and transform their lives. Because my transformation was still lacking that peace until it surfaced, because a loved one who loves me unconditionally and who is all about truth and transparency as I am, and just brought that to the forefront of my mind. And I cannot tell you, ladies, that knocked me back in my seat. I'm surprised I didn't fall off. I have these bar stool chairs. I was blown away. Bottom line, I thought I had forgiven myself fully, but realized, I had not. And it took that person, it took that soulmate who is connected spiritually to me to help me realize I still had that peace. I still had those dots to connect to my healing, that there was still healing to be done. And even when we think we have it all together, healing is ongoing. That's an ongoing process, right? Because the traumas of life just don't go away. You start to reconcile them so that you can move forward in your renaissance, in your rebirth, in the true you. But they still try to rear their heads, right? But we need to understand, what is the limited circle of belief that keeps us in low morale, or that can affect us and drop us to our knees? What are those limitations, those beliefs that we just keep circling around, either because we don't want to face them, or because they're buried so deep, they're just down there doing their thing, and we don't have a clue? But it's manifesting in our abilities to have a relationship, to interact with others, to be successful in various situations and circumstances. Ladies, we must break the circle to see the possibilities. That's the only way you can see the possibilities. That's the only way you can accept and allow for your greatness to manifest, to walk fully in your calling, to achieve those sustainable wins that you are capable of. Release the guilt, release the feelings of unworthiness, or that you owe the world or someone. Because let me tell you, any goodness that anyone gives to you, any goodness that they give to you, that does not come with a price tag. And do not let anyone lead you to believe that it does. Release the guilt, release the feelings of unworthiness, release the people pleasing. It's all wrong thinking, and it's holding us back. It's holding you back. Dictate your own course. Rewire your mind and discover your truth, not someone else's, not your sons, not your daughters, not your cousins, not your mothers, not your fathers, not your uncles, aunties, whomever. Your truth. And believe again. Believe again. Let go of the people pleasing. It will creep in, so you have to be conscious of it. Ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing if it doesn't make me happy? If it isn't fulfilling? If it's making me feel some kind of way? Our minds and our bodies are always trying to settle, ladies. Always. Let me say that again. And I want you to repeat it to yourself as well, so that you can get this in your spirit. Our minds and our bodies are always trying to settle. But our soul will remain free and restless. Your soul will remain free and restless. And it will remain restless until you respond to it, until you answer the call, until you head down that path that it is leading you toward, the path that you were meant to be on. Our subconscious always wants to make things easy for us, right? You know, that's what it does. That's what the crew does, right? That's what the crew does for the captain. We talk about the captain and crew concept all the time. So the subconscious is the crew. And the crew, they just want smooth sailing. They just want it easy, right? So it's always, the subconscious is always going to make things easy for us. But the higher call of the soul will not settle. The higher call of the captain dictating the orders, the soul that knows where you're supposed to be, that knows where you are meant to be, will not settle. So stop fighting against it, ladies. Stop fighting against it. In hindsight, I want you to ask yourself, have you been, are you the best version of yourself right now? Ask yourself. Take a moment to think about your life, your experiences, your dreams, your passions, and ask yourself the questions. Have you been, and are you the best version of yourself right now? And if not, why not? What is holding you back? What is keeping you from being that better than best version of yourself? And let me just say right now, it is okay to admit and know that your belief system may be low. Your belief level may be low. Your belief system may be lacking right now. It's okay. You're human. We are human. It's a matter of pulling yourself up off the ground. Remember, I shared with you in a previous episode about how when life kept happening to me, and literally just like, I felt like it was hitting me in the face, you know. It's one of the reasons on the cover of my book, Love the Skin You're In, while I'm standing, you know, in a boxing ring. Because life is a boxing ring, ladies. And we have to be prepared for it. And a lot of the skills the boxers have to learn and experience to dance, to weave, to ebb, to flow. Know when to jab, know when to duck, dodge, go toward a corner to rest. Having the corner woman, the corner man there to give you advice, to spur you on. Life is a boxing ring, ladies. And we must have our gloves up. We must, and that means being prepared, right? Being prepared in mind, body, and soul to protect your spirit, your mind, your body, your soul. So it's okay to admit that sometimes we get knocked out. We get punched, but we have to always get up off the mat. And when I was going to interview after interview, trying to figure out how to pivot, at one point when life happened and, I made the decision that I was going to be a caregiver for my father, and and I'm putting all of my different skill sets into a resume, into, a competency section that wasn't even a thing back then, but just trying to think without a box and help people figure out or see, what I was capable of, what I could do, the greatness in me. Because see, I've always quietly believed it inside, but there has been a fear of letting it out. Can you relate to that? So, I'm going to these interviews, and even with me taking all that time and thinking without a box and trying to help them out, the interview panel, they still didn't get it. They still couldn't put it together. Their finite minds, their boxed in thinking, or their educated hovering around the box still thinking, prevented them from a belief. Their belief system prevented them from seeing the truth of what was in front of them that could have provided them freedom in their problem. The problem solution that was sitting right in front of them, the belief system kept them from seeing it. And to know and admit that to yourself, ladies, is not arrogance. You know your self-mastery. You know where you're lacking and what you're strong in. And when you can bring something to the table, that's okay. That's not arrogance. Right? We talked about this the other day. So it's okay to admit when your belief system is low, but it's also okay, and more than okay, to celebrate and to know when it is strong. So, going back to that conversation with my companion, when he asked me a series of questions that really challenged my belief, in which I thought I had completely forgiven myself and released that pain and those pain points, when in actuality I had not. There were still things so deep that I was still harboring that casted a shadow on my soul, which was preventing the healing. And ladies, if you are spinning your wheel, if you have still not reconciled some of those things, those dark places, those traumatic experiences in your life, this is what's happening. This is the cycle of insanity. This is the thing that is making you feel some kind of way. Yes, there might be people and entities there that it's manifesting through, but it's something at the root, at the core, and it's in those shadows in which you have to deal with. Allow yourself to heal. Admit it. Allow the healing process and embrace. Then you'll be able to embrace your power and embrace your greatness and start wielding that ability to choose your free will. I want you to think about your life and any darkness that may be holding you back, that you have buried so deep to mask the pain. I want you to go there. I want you to think about it. You must take the mask off and face the fear. You must take the mask off and face the fear. And believe that you can and will, 1, survive it, 2, heal from it, and 3, be able to move into your renaissance, your rebirth. and discover or rediscover the true you. See, when you rediscover your truth and find closure, we make conclusions all the time because our conscious, again, remember, our subconscious allows it. But when you rediscover your truth and find closure, if you let the darkness consume you, you will always be a limited version of yourself. But when you find that closure, you can and will dictate your path in life. No limitations, no naysayers. Get rid of all the naysayers. But when you find that closure, even the naysayers won't thwart you on your journey and along your path. You will be able to define your own path, and those opinion of naysayers will have no power over you. They will have no influence. You will become the influencer and not the influencee. But until you break free from the limited belief systems, yours or someone else's, you will continue the circle. Respect those who gave you life to help you along the way, but you define your path, your own path. When your belief gets where it should be, you will not flinch, you will not panic, you will not allow the belief of others to change your course. Things will start to happen for good. You must continually work on it, though. Don't think it's just fixed. Where are you right now? That's what I want you to ask yourself. The answer to that question is everything, and the key to your freedom. I hope you found nuggets in this episode. I hope it has given you more belief in yourself and the motivation to reconnect to your source, to your belief system. The pivot for next week is walk in your freedom and let freedom ring. I'm so excited about that episode, so make sure you tune in. And I want to invite you again just to reflect over the conversation today. Think about the applications to your life and the areas that you need to focus on the healing process. Be sure to save the date, January 3rd through 7th, 2022. Make it rain, the legacy event. We're going to be online. You do not want to miss it. Go to any of our social media pages. Doc V Next Steps Coach is the handle on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and you can find the ads there. Be sure to register. You'll get the reminder, and we will see you on Monday, January 3rd. Okay? Look so forward to seeing you. Visit our website online, definingpaths.online, and join us next week again for Walking in Your Freedom. And until then, what is our mantra, ladies? Strong is the new sexy. I want you to repeat it. I want you to affirm that in your body, mind, and soul. Be strong in body, mind, and soul, and define your path, and love the skin you're in. I'm Doc V, the Pivot Maestro, and always your corner woman. I am my sister's keeper, and I will see you next week.